Okay, welcome back everybody. Continuing with inputs. Now we're talking motion, voice, and video inputs. So sensors will calculate inputs, right, for motion, voice, and video. The golf example is a good one, right? So a sensor is going to calculate your swing and it's going to translate that data from this real world club of ours into a game on the screen. The motion unit is going to analyze the swing parameters to determine what the ball will do based on those parameters. So basically, it gets much more detailed than this, but you can see on the right all of the input units to make this work. So here's a golf simulator, right, which comprises a lot of input units for us. It comprises a lot of these input units, right? Uses a photosensor unit, an image input unit, a movement information calculation unit, a spin information calculation unit, and a flight trajectory calculation unit. Hey, that's well beyond me and this course. It's just fun to think about all the inputs that go into it. And then the speed and the direction of the golf ball the spin of the golf ball are then accurately measured, right? More input by using separate image input device to calculate the spin amount of the golf ball. It's really very interesting how that works, I think. So I hope you enjoyed that. The power of those items. Okay, so voice recognition, just to note, is also called speech recognition. A voice recognition application is going to allow the users to dictate text and enter those instructions by speaking to a microphone. Gosh, I was doing voice recognition, using voice recognition software back in the 90s. So it's come a long way. It was good then. Now it's great. Continuing with motion, voice, and video, right? We think of Siri as an example. Siri is a voice-activated assistant that mimics our human intelligence and duplicates some of this natural conversation. So she interprets our voice instructions, which remember are analog, that's converted to digital in the computer, and when possible, Siri will carry them out. And this is a good example of voice input, I thought. Okay. Continuing with audio then, audio input is the process of entering any sound into the computer, such as speech or music, maybe sound effects. Audio input devices allow us to send audio signals to a computer for processing and recording and carrying out commands, kind of like Siri that we just talked about. So instead of the usual chime at the boot into Windows, and Windows used to chime when you booted in, for example, the main machine could play a message welcoming you by name. Isn't that neat? And various audio input devices are are used by singers to record even new music. So really exciting what can be done. You can find more about this if this interests you on page 714 of the book in the course. Okay, the webcam. Webcam is really a type of DV camera. All webcams really work in basically the same way. They use an image sensor chip, and that's going to catch moving images, and it converts those moving images into streams of digits that are uploaded over the internet. So this image sensor chip is the heart of the webcam. Which is really kind of a neat technology. Okay, continuing with motion, voice, and video. Video conferencing is a technology that allows us to use different locations to hold face-to-face meetings. Many of us do this now, especially in the days of COVID. It rapidly accelerated that we're all doing it on Zoom or WebEx or some such feature. Skype Instant Messenger, Skype for Business, etc. And so without having to move to a single location together, we can do this video conferencing, right? Like holding routine meetings, negotiating business deals, and interviewing job candidates. I've done all of those video conference-wise during this COVID event. with scanners and devices are other input devices. So a scanner is an input device that scans a document, such as a photograph or a page of a text. And then when the document is scanned, it's converted into a digital format. And most scanners are flatbed devices, right? You just lay the piece of paper flat on the bed, which means, they have a flat scanning surface, of course. This is really great for photographs, magazines, various documents, etc. Here's kind of a picture of how it goes down, right? And what is most interesting about this is that the scanner, like I said, converts the document into that digital information and then transmits it via cable to the computer. And it's going to go to the computer's memory first, as we learned before, and then it's going to get processed and eventually saved, likely to the hard drive. So a little bit more about scanners, just to talk about OCR and OMR. So OCR stands for Optical Character Recognition, and it's a widespread technology to recognize text inside an image, such as a scanned document, right? So this OCR technology is used then to convert virtually any kind of image with written text on it, typed or handwritten or printed, into machine-readable text data. Now, OMR is similar, but a little bit different, right? So OMR is going to recognize whether there is any mark present in a predefined position. So OCR, on the other hand, it identified signs and characters and creates an editable Word document of the scanned document. That's what we just discussed. But OMR is generally used in places such as evaluating answer sheets that have multiple choice questions. So the little dots, that's OMR on a grading sheet. So then continuing with scanners, a little bit about barcodes. A barcode scanner is a device used to read barcodes, right? We've all seen barcodes at the grocery store, at the mall, or elsewhere, right? Most businesses buy scanners for use during the checkout process, in fact. They are also used for inventory management and whether it's at a local location for inventory management, etc. So barcode is basically just this square or rectangle image, right? It's got a series of parallel black lines and white spaces that have varying widths between them, and they can be read by the scanner. So barcodes are applied to products as a means of quick identification and pricing and inventory control and reordering, etc. So the vertical lines and spaces of different widths is one way to do it. There's also kind of a two-dimensional pattern of dots, squares, and other images. And so the barcode is really representing data then inside of it. Now, not done with that yet. We have a QR code, right? So each industry, I just want to say this last thing about a barcode. Each industry uses its own type of barcode. So the Postal Service, for example, uses a PostNet barcode. Grocery stores, which most of us very familiar with, use a UPC barcode or Universal Product Code barcode. Now QR, which stands for quick response. So a QR code is a quick response code. That's a 2D barcode that stores information both in the vertical and in the horizontal, as opposed to just the horizontal and the spaces between the bars. Now it's in the vertical and the horizontal in the square-shaped graphic. So I use a QR app on my phone. And you can download a free one from Apple Store or Apple App Store or iTunes App Store or one of your favorite app stores. You can download them for free. And you can even convert your LinkedIn profile into your address into a QR code and put it on a business card. I think is an exciting way to do it. And then people can just scan your business card and they have your LinkedIn profile. Also, now with COVID, many restaurants I've seen that I've visited are not giving out menus any longer. Instead, they'll have a QR code on the table, and you just scan it with your phone, and boom, up pops the menu. It's really kind of neat use of the technology. Now, continuing with scanners and reading devices, there's RFID. This is a technology that works on radio frequencies. That's the RF portion of it, radio frequencies, and it's used for auto identification for different objects. So what happens is the RFID system has two parts. There's the object out there that we want to track, and on which this RFID tag is attached to it. Right? As long as that tag is within range, radio range of the radio waves, then it sends signals back and forth to the RF reader. So you have an RF reader, maybe in the middle of a warehouse, and all these pallets of equipment have tags on them, so you know exactly where each piece of equipment is at. So RFID technology automates data collection and vastly reduces human effort and reduces human error. So RFID supports tag reading there's no line of sight, right? As long as you're in the area, it's an RFID wave, right? No line of sight or item by item scan like at the grocery store. The RFID readers can read multiple RFID tags simultaneously, increasing the efficiency too. So as cargo's coming off an airplane, if they each have an RFID tag on them, the RFID reader can track them and know that they have been checked in, for example. So RFID tags can be read, like I said, at a faster rate than barcodes. And you can do about 40 RFID tags at the same time. And they can work within much greater distances, right? Again, not line of sight even. And the information can be read from the tag up to about, I'm going to say 300 feet. And these tags have read and write capability. Pretty cool. So continuous scanners, right? There's the magnetic strip reader, many of us familiar with. Sometimes it's called just a mag strip reader. And this is a hardware device that reads the information that has been encoded on a magnetic strip on the back of a plastic card. And so the strips may contain information like access privileges or account numbers or other cardholder details, perhaps. Now, many of these type of readers you can buy on Amazon, right? You can do a quick search yourself and find one. And we'll talk about credit cards with the integrated circuit, the little square, such on the credit cards in Chapter 8, just to give you a little taste for what's coming. Yeah. So MICR, this is Magnetic Ink Character Recognition Technology. So MICR code is a code printed on checks using this MICR technology, that Magnetic Ink Character Recognition. So MICR is a 9-digit code that uniquely identifies the bank and the branch participating in this electronic clearing system known as ECS. It really comprises 3 parts, and the first 3 parts represent the city. There's a city code there on the check, which is kind of neat. Okay. The data collection devices are defined as devices which help in obtaining data directly from the location wherever the event or transaction takes place. That's a basic definition. It does not read or scan data from a source document as we've been discussing on these other type of devices. That's really what I wanted to touch on there. Now we're going to start it with an output device. What is an output? An output is data that has been processed into some useful form. So we took in this data, we've processed it now, and now we have output. Recall that computers process data, which is that input, into information, which is the output. Right? And this slide shows the 4 ways that happens: text, graphic, audio, and video. Now, that's where I'm going to stop. We'll pick it up beginning with the rest on outputs when we come back. Thank you.